Chapter 6. Life Sketches. Brief biographical sketches are given here for the mystics whose abhangs are included in this book. The reader will note that they are organized alphabetically for ease of reference when reading other parts of the book. Little biographical information is available for many of the Maharashtrian mystics, who left their legacy in their extraordinary songs, not in accounts of their often ordinary lives. In addition, much of the material that is available was compiled many years ago, with no way of determining its historical accuracy. The biographical information given below is therefore limited in some cases to the barest outline and includes whatever could be gleaned from the material available. Dates of birth and death are also approximate for many of the mystics. Along with the life sketches, a few examples of the mystics' compositions are also included to provide a glimpse into the way the saints encouraged their listeners to turn their lives towards inner devotion to the Lord. Bahinabai, 1628 to 1700. Born into a poor Brahmin family at Deogao in Maharashtra, Bahinabai was betrothed before her teenage years to a much older widower. Because of her devotion to the Lord and her guru Tukaram, Bahina initially incurred the jealousy and anger of her husband. But Bahina did not let her devotion to spiritual life interfere with her loving duty to her husband and family. Her husband was eventually won over and joined her in her life of devotion. Bahinabai composed autobiographical verses and abhangs on bhakti, nam, meditation, guru, and right living. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Bhanudas, 1448 to 1513. Born at Patan in East Maharashtra, Bhanudas was the great-grandfather of the mystic Eknath. Spiritually minded from childhood, he sold cloth for a living, but his wife grumbled that he spent more time in devotion than earning money. However, he soon became known for his honesty and fairness, and his business thrived. Bhanudas claimed to know of no other code of conduct nor mode of thought than that of uttering the name of God. He says, "The easiest method of crossing the ocean of existence is constant repetition of Nam. This repetition includes all spiritual practices. Why are you constantly saying mine, mine? Only as long as you have wealth do they see you as a dear one, elder, or brother. At the end, everyone is a stranger." Changdev, Changa Vateshwar, died circa 1305. Changdev is thought to have been born in Alandi and later to have lived in Vateshwar, renamed Changdev in his honor, on the banks of the Tapti River. Changdev attained great yogic powers and used them to perform miracles, attracting many disciples. Originally, he wanted no spiritual master because he thought that no one was fit to teach him. Upon meeting Yaneshwar and his family, however, he was completely humbled, dismissed his own followers, and begged for initiation. Yaneshwar's sister Muktabai initiated Changdev, and he became her devoted disciple. He wrote one book, Tattvasar, Essence of Philosophy, and many abhangs expressing his deep devotion to his Guruma, Muktabai. Speaking of his spiritual development and inner revelations, he writes, "The flute is playing all day, and its sound has filled the whole universe. Changdev, who merged himself in this all-enveloping sound, became God by meditating on God." Choka Mela, 13th to 14th century. Choka Mela was born into a low-caste family in Mahuna Raja, a village in the Buldana district, and later lived at Mangalveda in Maharashtra. He was initiated into the bhakti path by Sant Namdev and settled in Pandharpur. Reflecting his clear-headed and devotional outlook, His abhangs suggest that spirituality is available to all, and that the path of devotion and nam is the way to attain liberation. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Dasopant Deshpande, 1551 to 1615. Dasopant, a contemporary of Eknath, was a Brahmin from Narayanpet in Maharashtra. He lived a life of austerity and was said to have lived on fallen leaves and slept on bare rock in the forest for 20 years. He then moved to Ambejogai or Mominabad. A prolific writer, he wrote about 50 books in as many years. His commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, known as Gitarnava, Ocean of Gita, is a voluminous work consisting of more than 100,000 verses, while his Granth Raj, King of the Books, contains 12,000 verses. He also wrote Sant Vijay, Victory of the Saints, and Panchikaran, Product of 5 Elements, and hundreds of abhangs. An example of his practical advice is, worry forms a tight noose around people's necks. It burns them without fire and swallows their happiness. One who ignores worry or destroys it is a real master. Jnaneshwar, also known as Jnanadev, 1275 to 1296. Born to a Brahmin couple in Alandi in Maharashtra, Jnaneshwar was orphaned at an early age along with his 3 siblings, all of whom became bhakti mystics. He was initiated into the spiritual path by his brother Nivritanath and wrote many books in Marathi, including Jnaneshwari, a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Amritanubhav, Experience of Nectar, Pasayadan, 9 verses of prayer for the well-being of humanity, included at the end of Jnaneshwari. Changdev Pasashti, 65 verses addressed to the yogi Changdev, and several hundred abhangs. To this day, Jnaneshwar's life and writings remain a profound influence on Maharashtra. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Eknath, 1533 to 1599. Eknath was born at Patan on the bank of the Godavari River in Maharashtra, and later went to Devagiri, where he was initiated by Janardhan Swami. Learned in Sanskrit, Arabic, and Persian, Eknath wrote in a number of Indian languages and critically edited the Jnaneshwari, restoring it to its original version. Eknath's other works include Chatushloki Bhagvat, 4 verses with commentary in praise of the Lord, Rukmini Swayamvar, which is based on the ceremony in which the bride Rukmini chooses her husband from among her many suitors, the Shukashtak, 250 verses of the holy man Shuk, Bhikshu Gita, Song of Renunciates, and the Eknathi Bhagvat, a commentary on the Bhagvat Puran. He wrote biographies of the lives of many Maharashtrian mystics and composed more than 4,000 abhangs and over 300 baruds, short dramatic verses, which are still sung today. He himself had become so imbued with divine love that he saw God everywhere, and he taught the method by which this devotional state could be achieved. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Gora Kumbar, 1267 to 1309. Gora was born into a potter's family in Terdoki, near Pandharpur. He sought out the company of saints, and even while working on his pottery, he kept his thoughts centered on the Lord. Gora Kumbar's abhangs, about 20 of which survive, convey the unfathomable nature of spirituality, as when he says, "A devotee cannot describe the bliss of Brahman, just as a dumb person cannot express the sweetness of sugar. One can enjoy the bliss of experience only in mystic silence." Janabai, 13th to 14th century. Born at Gangakhed on the banks of the river Godavari in Maharashtra, Johnny was orphaned at an early age and taken in by the family of Sant Namdev, whom she cared for in his infancy and whose disciple she would later become. Johnny also did the domestic chores of the house, and with the Lord's name always on her lips, she took every chore as bhakti, and all her worldly duties became spiritual. Although not educated, Janabai composed about 300 abhangs that speak of the challenges of her life and her struggle for and ultimate success in attaining God realization. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Janardhan Swami, 1504 to 1575. Janardhan Haripant Deshpande, respectfully known as Janardhan Swami, was born into a Brahmin family and lived at Chalasgaon in Maharashtra, working as a district accountant in the service of a Muslim king. After Nrsinga Saraswati initiated him into the spiritual life, Janardhan spent all his evenings in devotion or delivering spiritual discourses. He became respected by both Hindus and Muslims and attracted disciples from both religions, among them his renowned disciple Eknath. Janardhan Swami wrote many abhangs and books of profound spirituality, including Atman Atma Viveksar, Essence of True Knowledge. His life was an exceptional example of maintaining the attitude of a yogi in the midst of an active life. Purify your body by sitting for meditation. Don't remember anyone's faults. Let your mind look upon everyone as equal. Don't be lazy in doing the Lord's meditation. By this you will get eternal bliss. Repeating Nam is very easy. Your sins of several lives will be washed away. Joga Parmanand, 14th century. A contemporary of Namdev, Joga Parmanand lived in Barshi, north of Pandharpur. Although his given name was Joga, he referred to himself and became known as Joga Parmanand because of his love for his guru, Parmanand. Little is known of his family and life. Some say that he was born a Brahmin at Kanauj, while others say that he was a Teli, one who does the work of oil pressing. Whatever his background, he wrote elegant abhangs as well as the book Param Anand Sagar, Ocean of Supreme Happiness. Many of his poems were taken down by Visoba Kechar, and one is included in the Adi Granth. He expresses his joy at the Lord revealing his inner form. My mind is cool and completely contented. At this moment the Master has come. Now all is wonder and awe. All are happy that Parmanand has appeared. My arms thrill to embrace him. My eyes overflow with tears, like clouds bursting with rain. Today is auspicious, a day of celebration. A saint has graced us with his presence. Joga requests all to meet the Master. Kanhoba, 1608 to 1674. As the younger brother and disciple of Tukaram, Kanhoba helped to take care of Tukaram's family as well as his own, so that Tukaram could devote himself to his spiritual life and mission. Kanhoba wrote 50 abhangs full of devotion to his brother and guru, verses which show his loving, faithful, and pure personality. He signed these abhangs Tukya Bandhu, brother of Tukaram. Like his brother, he was full of praise for the name. In my mind, the Lord's name has settled. Now I find nothing sweeter than this. Lost is my sense of separateness. Now this body has no use. Kanopatra, 15th century. Kanopatra, the beautiful daughter of a rich courtesan named Shyama, lived in Mangalveda, near Pandharpur. Although she was proficient in singing and dancing and was born into a household without devotion, her heart was filled with love for the Lord, and when her mother wanted her to marry, she fled to Pandharpur in search of a spiritual life. Her surviving abhangs are sung even today. she expresses the power of repeating God's name when she says, "The Lord's name burns all weaknesses, and all sinners are saved by the name. This is my own experience. I have attained the truth. Such is the greatness of the Lord's name that when you repeat it, Kal starts trembling, and it emancipates even sinners." Kanopatra wears such a garland of the Lord's name around her neck. Munkoji Bodle, 1594 to 1694. A contemporary of Eknath, Munkoji Bodle was born in Damangao in Sholapur district of Maharashtra, where his father had resettled during a devastating famine in the district of Pune. Originally renowned for his great physical strength and skills in weaponry, hunting, and fighting, he was transformed into a soft-hearted and generous disciple. He regarded service to suffering humanity as service to God, and it is said that he gave away all his wealth to the needy, for his treasure was the name. A flood of happiness came, waves of love surging. Tie yourself to the boat of Nam and swim to the far shore. Muktabai, 1279 to 1297. Muktabai, the younger sister of Jnaneshwar, was born at Apegaon in the Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. She was initiated by her brother Nivritinath, along with her two brothers. Her name, meaning spiritually emancipated, also describes her accomplishment in life. In her works, including Tatiche Abang, the door song, addressed to her brother Jnaneshwar, Muktabai articulated her spiritual experiences. She says, "For me, the whole creation has become the Lord's form. I have adorned myself with the ornaments of bliss. My heart is free every moment. Nivritinath has given me strength and placed peace within me. With Nam within, I am free. Devotion brought peace and mercy within my heart. Have mercy towards all creatures, and you'll dwell forever in the Lord. Meditate on the Lord's name, which holds the treasure of salvation. Attaining the name, the world is freed." Namdev, 1270 to 1350. Namdev was born at Narsi Bamni in the Satara district of Maharashtra. Although a tailor by profession, he was interested only in devotion, and although they suffered worldly deprivation, he and his entire family and their servant Janabai, 14 in all, became ardent devotees and composers of abangs. Namdev was initiated by Visoba Kachar and gave teachings and discourses throughout India, eventually settling in Guman in Gurdaspur district of Punjab. His advice was to follow the simple and natural practice of Nam to attain God realization. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Narhari Sonar, 13th century. Born into a family of goldsmiths, Narhari Sonar was a wealthy moneylender in Deogiri, but unlike many in that profession, scrupulously honest and fair. Later, he moved to Pundarpur and became a jeweler, the elements of his trade sometimes appearing as metaphors in his mystic poetry. He wrote many beautiful abhangs, including, "Nam is available free, free. Nam is the ocean of nectar, the storehouse of happiness. It's the essence of essences. Narhari repeats it all the time." Niloba, 1635 to 1753. Niloba was born into a well-to-do Brahmin family at Shirur in Pune district and inherited the family profession of village accountant. He moved with his wife to Dehu, where Sant Tukaram lived, and later to Pimpalner in Ahmednagar district. Niloba became Tukaram's spiritual successor, initiating seekers into the bhakti path. As well as a biography of Jnaneshwar, he wrote more than 1,500 abhangs on devotion, nam, true knowledge, and renunciation. He wrote of both his struggles to achieve God realization and the blessings he encountered within. O Lord, show me your form at least once. After that I will not trouble you. In the firmament is heard the roaring of ceaseless music, and blue lights are shining. An incomparable soul is seen everywhere. The light of the soul that I see is different from other lights. Even with closed eyes I see it. It has no form, nor does it rise or set. Once the soul sees it, it is forever risen. But to whom shall I tell this? One without love will not believe the truth. Nirmala, 13th to 14th century. The sister of Choka Mela, Nirmala lived in Mehunpuri, near Aurangabad in Maharashtra, with her husband Banka, who was also a mystic. Thus she was constantly associated with devotees all her life, and mentions Choka Mela as her guru. Except for her family connections, not much is known of her life. In the 24 abhangs that are recognized as being composed by her, she tells of her devotion to God and the importance of Nam. She also describes how to maintain a household while remaining steeped in devotion and finding true liberation. Warning us against the temptations of the world and telling us that surrender is the way to unburden ourselves of our problems, Nirmala says, "Beware, do not get mixed up in this world. Do not get swept away by the currents of life and death. Cleanse your heart, cleanse your mind, and forever repeat the name of the Lord. I am sure of you. I surrender at your feet. Now do what you think is right. I have put down my burden. I have placed my head in your lap." Nivritinath, 1269 to 1296. The elder brother and guru of Jnaneshwar, Muktabai, and Sopandev, Nivritti was born at Alundi and was initiated by Gahininath into Nath Yoga at the age of 9. His name, Nivritti, means detachment from worldly life. Nivrittinath wrote abhangs and several books, including Nivrittisar, Essence of Nivritti's Teachings, Uttar Gita Tika, Commentary on the later Gita, Satik Bhagavad Gita, Commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Samadhi Bodh, Knowledge of Meditation, and Hari Pat, Song of the Lord. His message is simple. God's sweet sound emerges out of the warp and woof of breath. When we have seen God, all this world vanishes from us. Every nook and cranny of the universe becomes filled with God. To criticize others is to always consider them different. But duality and God never go together. Ramdas Samarth, 1608 to 1682. Samarth Ramdas was born at Jamb in Jalna district of Maharashtra. Named Narayan at birth, he took the name Ramdas, servant of Lord Ram, after meditating in a cave for 12 years. He traveled throughout India and then returned to Maharashtra, where he worked to awaken social and spiritual consciousness, and taught the necessity of bhakti for spiritual illumination. Because of his work, he was given the additional name Samarth, meaning all-powerful. Ramdas wrote Karunashtake, poetry of compassion and tenderness, Manache Shlok, an anthology of verses addressed to the mind, and Dasbodh, knowledge gained by the servant. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Savta Mali, 1250 to 1295. Savta lived and worked as a gardener in Arangal, near Pandharpur. Detached from his worldly life, Savta nonetheless believed that one should not try to escape one's allotted life, but rather keep engaged in inner devotion. He felt that if all deeds were done as offerings to God, then worldly life would become spiritual. Thus Savta continuously repeated the Lord's name while lovingly tending his garden, where he felt God's presence. Seeing God, loving God, and being in God in all of his tasks. He wrote many abhangs, including one in which he says, "I will not ask anything from anybody other than the saints. They are perfect devotees and show us what devotion is. I would like to have only their company." Sena Navi, Sain, 14th century. Sena Navi, a disciple of Ramanand and contemporary of Namdev, was born in North India, but lived most of his life in and around Maharashtra. Sena worked as a barber in Bidar and would rise early in the morning, do the Lord's devotion, and only then attend to his work. The story is told that one day the king sent for Sena when he was in meditation. His wife said he wasn't home in order not to interrupt his devotions, and the king became furious when he heard this. But the Lord himself came to the king in Sena's place, apologized, and shaved and shampooed him. The king was so pleased with the Lord's ministrations that he made Sena the palace barber. Sena composed a number of abhangs. Speaking of our priorities, he says, "So much work and worry to fill your belly. Anything to lose by repeating God's name? If you do good to others, you get limitless merits. But if you hurt others, no sin compares with this." Sena accompanied Namdev to the Punjab, and one of his verses is included in the Adi Granth. In this verse, he says, "The wondrous Lord has ferried me across the terrifying ocean of existence. Remember the Lord, the embodiment of joy." Sheikh Muhammad, 17th century. Sheikh Muhammad, one of the Muslims included among the Bhakti saints of Maharashtra, lived in the village of Ruhi Vahire in Ahmednagar district in Maharashtra, and was a disciple of Chand Bodle. Sheikh Muhammad knew Sanskrit and wrote in Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, and Farsi, composing Yog Sangram, Struggle for God Realization, Nishkalank Bodh, Pure Teachings, and Pavan Vijay, Victory of Hanuman, as well as many abhangs. It is said that he came to realize the suffering caused to slaughtered animals when, as a youth, he was asked by his father to slaughter a goat. On hearing the cries of the goat, his heart was so moved that he swore never to kill any animals. He advised devotion to the master, saying that a true master, no matter how described and from which religious tradition, is still a master, since all speak of the one. Muslims call out Sacha Pir, while Hindus believe in Puran Sadguru. Open your eyes and see, O brother. There is no difference between the two. 56 languages and countless words, but they all talk of one God Almighty. Because of different languages, they squabble and hold enmity against each other. Footnote: Such a pir, true sage, is a term for a true master in Islam, while Puran Sadguru, perfect true master, is used in Hinduism. End footnote. Soirabai, 13th to 14th century. As a low-caste woman, Soirabai lived a life of poverty and hardship. But her poems show that, like her husband Chokamela, she enjoyed an inner life of great spiritual richness. While attending to her household chores and ministering to the needs of the family, she found time for ceaseless devotion to God and the composition of the 62 abhangs, which have been attributed to her. Although she was uneducated, her abhangs indicate that she had a good knowledge of the Hindu epics. What is most striking about her abhangs is the humility which they reveal. She had so completely merged her personality in that of Choka, her husband and guru, that in most of the abhangs, contrary to the prevailing practice, she does not use her own name in the signature line, but calls herself the humble wife of Choka. On seeing you, Lord, no desire is left in me. No sense of differences is left in my mind. My heart is pure. The web of impurity in my mind has been broken with the power of Nam. Nam has broken the rope of the four bodies, says the humble wife of Choka. Footnote: the four bodies: physical, astral, causal, and supracausal. End footnote. Trilochan, born 1267. Trilochan is thought to have been born at Barshi, in Sholapur district of Maharashtra, and moved to the Punjab with Namdev, his guru. Although little is known of him, it seems that he was a scholar well versed in Indian philosophy and the ancient scriptures. Trilochan's writings include 4 verses which are in the Adi Granth. He asks us, "Why do you slander the Lord? You are ignorant and deluded. Pain and pleasure are the result of your own actions. The effect of past actions cannot be erased. This is why I repeat the name of the Lord. Whoever dwells on the Lord in his last moment, and in such deliberation dies, says Trilochan, will be liberated, and the Lord will live in his heart." Tukaram, 1598 to 1650. Tukaram was born into a farming family at Dehu, near Pune, but later became a trader. Transformed by losing both family and fortune, he turned to spirituality and was initiated by Babaji Raghava Chaitanya, enduring periods of spiritual emptiness before attaining liberation. Tukaram's satsangs were given in the local language, making them accessible to the general population, and he wrote over 5,000 abhangs in Marathi. See Chapter 3, 8 Poet Mystics, for more about this mystic. Visoba Kachar, died 1309. Visoba Kachar, originally known as Visoba Chatti, was born a Brahmin, but was a grocer by profession. He lived first at Patan and later in Onda Nagnath. Initially hostile to Jnaneshwar and his family, he was transformed when he saw the depth of their devotion and became Jnaneshwar's disciple and Namdev's master. Visoba wrote one book, Harishchandra Kian, allegory of Harishchandra, an ideal king, and many abhangs. Advising that our only hope is Nam, he says, "Whatever is written in your destiny will certainly take place. If the Lord wrote it this way, why are you anxious? As are your thoughts and actions, so are you assessed. We create karmas in this way. But don't lose courage. Repeat the Lord's name and you'll attain happiness and peace. Your true happiness lies within yourself. Finding discrimination and detachment, you will attain it." Vithoba, Vita, 13th century. Vithoba, whose name is a variation of Vittal, God, was the second of 4 sons of the poet-mystic Namdev and his wife Rajai. Vithoba, or Vita as he was also known, was one of 14 extraordinary mystics and poets from this family. He wrote 84 abhangs, including these lines praising the name and honoring Namdev, both his father and respected guru. All-pervading Supreme Spirit, your name is far beyond reach, but Namdev has made it easy. In the ship of the name he gave me shelter, then sailed me across the sea of existence. Give me the name, nothing else. Please let my love rest at your feet. End of Many Voices, One Song, Mystics of the East series, The Poet Mystics of Maharashtra, by Judith Sankaranarayan. Print copyright 2013 and audio recording copyright 2025. Radha Soami Satsang Beas, all rights reserved.